Today we conclude our series on the Order of the Solar Temple. Struggling with legal issues, the loss of their charismatic light shows, and growing media attention, Joseph Mambro and Luc Jouret scramble to figure out an exit plan. They finally decided it was time to transit to another world. This mass exodus led to the suicide and murder of over 50 people in one night in October 1994. But the suicides didn't stop there. They continued through 1998. Finally, with Mambro and Jouret gone, in 2001, one man was placed under arrest and blamed for these deaths. I'm Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dave. If you liked part one of this story, stick around. You're sure to be flushed with excitement as we plop out number 2. This is Necronomipod.
A French police helicopter spotted the charred bodies in a forest near Grenoble early this morning. 500 officers were involved in the manhunt. It began on Friday when cars were found in the forest belonging to cult members. The 16 burned bodies were discovered this morning a couple of kilometers from the parking lot. A French prosecutor says 3 children are among the dead. He says it's possible some of the victims were shot to death. Some weapons were found at the site. Their bodies were found lying in a star formation with their feet in the middle. Authorities say brush and trees stacked up around the clearing were likely used to light the bodies on fire.
All right, so we're going to change this up. We're going to be a little bit more, PG-13 tonight with my my opening question. So, for both of you guys, I propose to you, you can have a dinner with 3 other people. One of them has to be a living professional athlete. One of them has to be a living actor or actress. And one of them could be any famous deceased person in history. Who are you having dinner with for 4?
Holy shit.
That's a heavy question.
What kind of question is this?
I know, but it's better than the F, Marry, Kills. And I'll go first to buy you guys some time.
I don't know if it's better.
Let me start this off by saying that race car drivers and golfers count as athletes in Mike's question.
Oh, so it's alternate universe stuff.
Of course. Okay. So if I had to pick my one athlete that would be at my table, and I'm only going first to buy you guys some time because I knew I threw a heavy question at you. Even though you probably would both pick Tom Brady, because why wouldn't you? But I would pick Jeff Gordon, race car driver, one of my biggest heroes in life, as my athlete.
So it can be a prior athlete.
Yeah, but still alive.
Okay.
I'm sorry. An athlete, but that is still alive. The only dead, you have to reserve one dead one for the end. They can be a retired athlete. You could pick Michael Jordan. You can pick Wayne Gretzky, under the retired people. Peyton Manning. Jeff Gordon. But thank you, Dave, for recognizing that Jeff Gordon was retired.
See?
You see? You pick up on some stuff. You're probably a little embarrassed you knew that.
I'm not an imbecile. I know Jeff Gordon's retired.
See? Because he's the greatest athlete of all time. So Jeff Gordon is my athlete. Actor, actress, I'm going my favorite actor of all time, Robert De Niro. And my one dead celebrity, I'm going to go with Bobby Kennedy, who everyone knows. Well, maybe not everyone knows, but he's somebody I very much admire and I am a historian of. Bobby Kennedy, Jeff Gordon, Robert De Niro. We're sitting at a table. Maybe we have some wine. Maybe we have some whiskey. I'm going to have a ribeye, obviously, because I don't eat fillets because I'm not a, peasant.
I'm with you on the ribeye.
I like the flavor of a ribeye.
That I've broken my vegetarian streak.
Yeah, welcome back, Pally. So that's my lineup. Ian, do you have yours? Do you need some time?
I have 2. I'm having a little trouble with the dead celebrity part.
I can't think. I was listening to yours. I haven't had time to think yet.
It doesn't have to be a celebrity. It could be a politician. It could be a famous person from history.
Yeah, I understand the definition of anyone.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I was clear. You're all struggling with it.
Anyone's a pretty broad fucking category, pal.
I'm half buzzed. I don't remember what I said. Like you can pick Grandma Mama from the 20s if you want. I was trying to buy you guys time. So I did get to meet Jeff Gordon back in the summer of 2015. Right. I have never.
Did his penis taste good?
It was fantastic. It was like a ribeye, Dave. A lot of fat. So much flavor.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I have not had the pleasure of meeting Robert De Niro, and Bobby Kennedy was assassinated well before all of our times. I can keep talking if you guys want about other things.
Yeah, keep talking, because I really...
So my favorite De Niro movies, Goodfellas, obviously. If you haven't seen Goodfellas at this point, you're just doing yourself a misjustice. Go watch
He's
Goodfellas.
just an asshole. Let's be honest.
You're an asshole if you haven't seen Goodfellas. Casino, also, dynamite movie. Underrated movie. Also, Taxi Driver. Fantastic. Very slow moving, but a very good movie. One of De Niro's first films. Also, I feel like these don't get a lot of credit, but Analyze This and Analyze That with Billy Crystal, funny films. Those are funny films.
Not bad.
They're different for De Niro, and they're very good. I can go on. He's got about 116 different movies.
One of my favorite De Niro movies is Midnight Run. You know that movie?
I saw it once, a while ago.
With Charles Grodin.
Yeah.
Really good.
What's the movie with...
It's hard for me to think of them when I'm talking here.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I'm trying to
All right,
pontificate over here.
I have mine.
All right, Ian's got...
I
See, I should have sent you guys these notes ahead of time. Ian, what do you got for us?
So, athlete would be UFC fighter Alistair Overeem.
Damn. So you're doing steroids at that dinner.
Horse meat, sir. We don't
Excuse me.
We don't take steroids. We don't take steroids at that.
So it's not Ubereem.
It's all
Overeem.
horse meat.
It's Overeem, not
Yeah.
Ubereem. Horse meat.
So yeah, it would be Alistair Overeem. Actor would be Bruce Campbell for sure, hands down.
Nice.
Why wouldn't it be?
Dave's
Bruce
over there
Campbell?
scratching out his notes.
And then if I had to pick a dead person to bring back, just to meet him, and just because I'm going like super hard on it right now, it'd be Jim Jones. I'd like to meet Jim Jones.
Oh, my.
Damn. That's a hell of a dinner party for you.
Yeah, I'd like to meet. Yeah.
So I feel like someone's got to make a don't drink the Flavor Aid joke, Ian. Just watch her drink all night. If you got to go take a piss, take your cup with you.
Yeah. So yeah, that.
All right.
I feel like that's all. And
Alistair
yeah, I mean,
Overeem.
hands down, Bruce Campbell.
Alistair Overeem, UFC fighter. Bruce Campbell and Jim Jones.
Yep.
You could have picked Art Bell instead of Jim Jones, you know.
Art Bell would be fun to meet.
Man. No, he'd cut you off halfway through and kick you off the phone. All right, Dave, you're up.
I don't like these at all.
We got him here. We got him. There's no wrong answer.
All right.
No one can critique you on your own dinner party.
I'm quite shallow, so I'm going to go with...
Casey
not gonna
Anthony,
try to-
Amanda Knox, and Jody Arias. And they all have my meat for dinner.
For athlete, I'm going to go with Sydney LaRue from the U.S. women's soccer team. She's so fucking hot. And I'd like to hang out with her.
Also a good athlete.
Great athlete. Actress, I'm going to go with Megan Good because I would also like to hang out with her.
This fucking guy.
He's going to answer with like Marilyn Monroe as his final choice.
And for anyone in history, I'm going to go with Genghis Khan. I think that would be unbelievable.
That's a wild party.
Me, Genghis Khan, Sydney LaRue, and Megan Good.
All being served ribeyes and whiskey.
So that's all I got, man.
All right.
Interesting group of people we all chose tonight.
That's true. Athlete-wise, people are like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, there's no LeBron James. There's no Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky, John Elway, Dan Marino.
That doesn't do anything for me. I just want
You
to hang out
picked
with
who?
hot girls.
What's her name?
Sydney LaRue.
Sydney LaRue, Jeff Gordon, and Alistair Overeem. not exactly the Mount Rushmore of American sports.
That's all I got.
Actually, Alistair
not,
Overeem's not even American.
No, he's not. He's Dutch.
He's Dutch.
Hey, you know what? I'm not like super into like famous people and like meeting people and stuff, but I would be nervous as fuck to meet Alistair Overeem. I would love to meet that dude.
There you go.
So
He seems like he'd be a sweetheart, though, like in person.
he seems like a very nice guy.
yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, other than the fact that he's like, what, 6'5", 250 pounds?
Yeah. Nothing but horse meat over there. Don't even question the steroids.
Just horse meat, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's horse meat. All right. So another quick note before we get started on today's topic. We have a listener, Dan Mathewson. He's a loyal patron and been a listener for a long time. He owns a restaurant down in Charlotte called the Brown Bag, and they recently, given the current state of the country, the economy, and the virus going around, he has set up a GoFundMe. Their goal is to feed 2,500 frontline workers, including nurses, doctors, and first responders by the end of June. For every $10 they raise, they can donate one hot meal, Their goal is one hot meal to a frontline worker. Their goal is to raise $25,000 by the end of June to thus feed 2,500 frontline workers. If you are interested, we know the Necronomipod family is very tight-knit. Everyone likes to help each other out. If you're interested in helping out the Brown Bag and helping out Dan feed these frontline workers, you can check them out at GoFundMe. You can go to GoFundMe and search Brown Bag Feeds Frontline, or you can check them out at on Instagram. Their handle is at Brown Bag Charlotte. Check out pictures of their awesome food. They also have the link to the GoFundMe in their bio. So again, that's Dan Mathewson, a listener of the show. His restaurant, the Brown Bag in Charlotte, trying to feed some frontline workers during this the times of the virus, and try to give back to those people that are working extra hard and putting themselves at risk every day. So if you want to check them out, GoFundMe.com, Brown Bag Feeds Frontline, or at Instagram at Brown Bag Charlotte. Check them out and donate if you feel inclined.
That's awesome. Good luck with that, Dan.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Dan's cool.
Real good cause.
He's always been cool when he's talking on Discord and stuff. So
yeah, been in the Discord. He's been a patron for almost, I think, since day one, and been a loyal listener. So hope we can help them out and help all those fine people down in Charlotte. And the food on their Instagram page looks fantastic. That's, again, at Brown Bag Charlotte. Check it out. It looks delicious.
Do you think they'll DoorDash up to us in Ohio?
Probably not, Dave. Probably not.
All right, I'm just asking.
But, maybe if Necronomipod goes on tour one day and we're down in Charlotte.
Catering,
or we'll just go have lunch over there.
Oh, yeah, that would
You're
work,
thinking
too.
catering like we're fucking big shots.
I like catering.
Come cater our meals. One way or another, we'll have some Brown Bag.
I like it.
All right. So, yeah, check them out. GoFundMe, search Brown Bag Feeds Frontline. They would appreciate any help they can get. Just trying to feed those people putting themselves in harm's way each and every day. Speaking of harm's way, Ian, what do we got today?
Tonight we are going to do the Order of the Solar Temple Part 2. And where we left off on Part 1, things had really started to crumble for the Solar Temple, stemming from Luke Jouret getting charged with purchasing illegal firearms, specifically silenced ones, and Joseph DeMambro losing the secret of the projections and light shows that they were doing. Like, if we remember, they were slipping people some acid and then throwing up projections of Jesus on the cross and these
Sounds
light
great.
shows. Like,
fuck yeah, dude.
some crazy stuff was happening.
I'll be honest. I did a little shopping this week, and I tried to come up with a projection hologram thing that I could project Jesus upside down in my front yard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make this happen. I've not come across something that's not $20,000 yet. I don't want to spend that much money.
Maybe someday when this podcast takes off.
I'm going to make this happen, though.
All right.
Hologram Jesus, my front yard. May or maybe not upside down.
Coming Christmas 2035.
And the other thing that was happening with the Solar Temple with Luke Jouret and Joseph DeMambro was, we're going to talk about it in a minute here, but Luke Jouret was spiraling into some like depression kind of thing where he wasn't feeling great about stuff. And then a little more serious, Joseph DeMambro was starting to have kidney failure. He was becoming incontinent, where he was just having a lot of these health issues. So the facade was really fucking cracking for these guys. I mean, these guys are built up as these messiahs and stuff, and
you don't want to see your Messiah pissing himself, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the Messiah can't be pissing himself when he's supposed to be having sex with every woman in the cult, and
right.
So it doesn't work out that way.
Eventually, that news will start leaking out to everyone else in the cult.
So before we get to the events that happened after the Dutois were murdered, let's kind of like take just a quick step back and look at the idea of transit and the evidence that has been shown that was in the works for at least 3 years leading up to the events at what this transit was going to be. So the idea of transit began to be mentioned by DeMambro in 1990 or 1991, and it meant a voluntary departure or consent to bring their lives to another planet. It was necessary to be ready to leave at any time in response to the call. DeMambro said he did not yet know what the mode of transit would be, but he presented it as a metaphor of the passage across a mirror and the possibility of coming off a flying saucer to take the faithful members to another world. is kind of how he proposed it at the time.
So it's completely plausible and within our current technology.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is Heaven's Gate technology, so yeah, for sure. An ex-member explained to investigators that talks about transit never implied suicide, but rather an idea of being saved from disasters. And if we believe the statements to police after the events of 1994, most of these members who had heard about the idea of this, quote, departure or, quote, transit, considered it rather like a nebulous idea or interpreted it as just this departure to another geographical location. For example, leaving Geneva, Switzerland. Like, it was just like the metaphor for leaving where they were currently. It wasn't actually killing yourself to go to another plane of existence.
Nebulous my ass.
When members wanted to know more, they sometimes received evasive answers. Quote,
transit was the return to the Father, the return to the unity after having left Earth. 2 or 3 years before October 1994, I discussed with what was meant by the concept. She told me that I shouldn't worry, that I wouldn't realize, that we would all leave together as one. At the time, naively, I never thought that meant collective suicide.
Oh, you didn't, huh?
Well, he just said he didn't, right, Dave?
I mean, I guess it's not implied directly, but should you not infer that that's what they're talking about?
Look, if you're in a cult, just know you're probably going to die in some kind of suicide pact or be murdered.
I mean, and people in cults are naturally gullible, right?
I think in a lot of situations, yes.
Like, I don't trust anyone. You give me this nonsense, I'm going to punch you in the head. I don't know. Like, they're just gullible, right?
I think gullible maybe is part of it, but I mean, I think Ian, like, there are people looking for acceptance in some way, shape, or form in life.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's always somebody that is
word.
very, very down and out,
and just looking for something to believe in.
Yeah,
at any cost.
Well, which leads to gullibility, right?
I think, and
sure.
I worked that out in my head. I think so.
Yeah.
Ian, would you agree? Because I know you had thoughts on that with regards to like Jonestown. People who join these cults, they're in a position where maybe mentally they're more gullible than others. And I don't think we don't mean gullible.
Exactly.
I don't mean gullible necessarily to be insulting all the time. But in this situation,
Well, no, of course not.
But when you hear the word gullible,
without getting specifically personal, there's been a couple of times in my life where something was going very, very wrong. And after I got it taken care of professionally, based on my Google searches and stuff, I could have seen myself giving into something like this.
Okay.
Where somebody had an idea. If somebody would have came to me at a certain moment in my life and said, you know what? The way you're feeling right now, I have all the answers for you. And it was a charismatic person, I probably would have listened to him. I think it's just people that are very down and out and that are just really looking for an answer to something.
That's fair. Sure.
But it also speaks a lot to that you did seek professional help, got it, and got yourself.
Oh yeah, for
better.
Sure. Because crystals aren't doing it for you, man.
Nope.
I sold him 10 acres of swampland in Louisiana last year for $500,000.
Some members had known a little more precisely how things would eventually play out. One remembers that Mambro, quote, started talking about transit to another world. He said that this would be accomplished by a shift in consciousness and we wouldn't be aware of it.
You'd be fucking dead. You wouldn't be aware of it. That's exactly right.
But this operation presupposed a certain degree of preparation, saying, quote,
DeMambro explained to us that one day we'd all be called to a meeting at which a transit would be accomplished. It had to do with a mission, with a departure towards Jupiter. He said to his listeners that they had to be on call 24 hours a day so as not to miss the departure, and that once the order was given, would have to move quickly.
I hope they calculated the coordinates right, because a departure towards Jupiter might end with an arrival on Uranus.
Boom.
Anything's possible out in space, am I right?
It's no holds barred. It's a freak show out there. It's like our Discord.
So This kind of helps explain the speed with which some of the victims just kind of suddenly abandoned everything to head towards these really mysterious deaths that we're going to get into. But if this confirms the emergence of the idea of transit well before October 1994, it doesn't explain the reasoning that led DeMambro towards this plan of action. Outside the possible explanations linked to DeMambro's mental state, it seems that criticism by ex-members, this issue with the guns, with Luc Jouret buying the silenced guns that happened in Quebec, and disappointed hopes for success led the Solar Temple's leadership to just kind of flip this, like, hey, everything's going downhill, so we gotta kind of kick this up and get out of here, because we're just gonna take everybody down with us.
What else are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like,
I mean,
they're not going to disband and give everyone their money back, right?
Right. Here's your refund.
Right.
We'll see you guys. Thanks
Sorry,
for playing along.
Didn't work out. I mean, we thought we could do this, but
in addition, wiretaps of Luc Jouret made by the police in Quebec during the 1993 investigation due to those silenced firearms revealed that this really charismatic guy that was like this, he was the definition of a cult leader, was very depressed, constantly complaining about feeling tired and expressing eagerness to leave the world.
which is fine. But why do they always want to take everyone else with them?
Ego.
I think it's ego.
Yeah, just kill yourself.
You want your
asshole.
death to mean something.
I guess these guys just do it.
These
Don't
fuck-
take everyone else with you.
These fucking guys.
These fucking guys, right? Right? These suicidal people want to take everyone else with them. That's the part I hate about these fucking guys.
The first known version of text explaining a quote departure had been written in February 1993. This coincides with the opening of the investigation into the group by the Quebec police on February 2nd, 1993. And since some sources suggest that Jouret may have gotten word of the investigation before it actually started on March 8th, 1993, we don't know the absolute certainty whether him writing about departure was with or without knowledge of the police investigation. We don't know.
Yeah.
So we don't know if that investigation may have sped things up here.
Right, but you could very much make the argument that it lines up pretty well.
If they just put dildos on the end of those guns for silencers, am I right?
Who did that again?
Robert Pickton.
See, that would be a good trivia question because I would not fucking remember.
Well, you won't remember it in 5 minutes, so it's all right.
was-
Still a good trivia question.
That was like 3 weeks ago. So.
This is all short-term memory for me. I just try to get through each episode, not making myself look like a damn fool. 20 minutes from now, I'm going to be like, so we're talking about Catherine Knight, right?
So getting back to the Dutois, we remember that their baby, Emmanuel, was labeled the Antichrist. So Tony Dutois, his wife, Nikki Dutois, and the 3-month-old baby, Emmanuel, they were all murdered. The same night that the Dutois were murdered, Luc Jouret and 9 other Solar Temple members had dinner at a Swiss hotel. Joseph DeMambro had his own sort of Last Supper on October 3rd, 1994, away from Jouret. We don't know how many members were really on board with committing suicide, but from these last meals, we can assume that there was at least 15 people that truly knew the plans that Jouret and DeMambro had in mind.
What they have for dinner?
Hopefully
Don't know.
ribeyes.
I don't know.
Swiss steak?
Not great.
Gross.
Yeah.
Right? What do they eat in Switzerland?
Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese, Swiss steak?
Just a block of Swiss cheese on Swiss steak. Like melted Swiss cheese on Swiss steak, right? Isn't that what they eat?
I think
and
that's
some kind
all
of
they
fancy
eat.
Swiss wine.
Sure.
Yeah. And they just fart, and then that's just disgusting.
So what's a good last meal for a cult, you think?
Well, for a cult,
Yeah.
you get a sheet pizza. You feed the most people for the lowest price, right?
Flavor Aid and a big pizza?
You get Flavor Aid.
Maybe
Ian,
some
Ian,
bananas
what
if you're out in the jungle.
What flavor was the Flavor Aid? Did we talk about that?
It was grape.
So grape Flavor Aid and like 3 sheet pizzas. You get
not
what?
bad.
1 cheese,
3 sheep.
1 cheese, 1 pepperoni, 1 sausage. Because that's what? That's like 60, 70 slices.
Yeah.
Those sheet pizzas are like 24 slices.
Well, you're not going to get pineapple on it.
No. Whoa, no. I'd rather kill myself. I made myself laugh with that one. I'd rather just drink the flavor than eat pineapple pizza. Like, hey, Jim, thanks for the pizza. You know what? Just give me that juice.
Can I go to the front of the line, pal?
Yeah. You know what? Someone else can have my slice.
I know Heaven's Gate, they all had chicken pot pies before they left the
Jesus,
world.
are you fucking kidding me?
Well, you actually like to buy in bulk. They bought those Nikes in bulk, and they bought one of those like frozen Costco boxes of chicken pot pies.
24 cents each.
You warm those up in the microwave for 3 minutes, you're good to go.
Cheap
It's
motherfuckers.
delicious. For the record, those frozen chicken pot pies, I love.
Oh, of course.
They're
You would-
delicious.
you
Maybe
would,
not the last meal.
Yeah. How about the Office
Yeah, you would
episode
think you could
where
splurge a bit.
Michael eats an entire chicken pot pie, sleeps the whole afternoon. They set the clocks, wake him up, time to go home. Yeah, Ian, you're right. You'd splurge. Well, but they didn't have any money though, right?
Solar Temple, they had a fuck ton of money.
I thought they were having financial troubles though, because of they didn't know where that money was leaking out, and there was legal issues and stuff. So they couldn't even.
They just had problems with like Quebec investigating them for buying guns and shit. I mean, they still had a lot of
Yeah,
money.
that Swiss watchmaker who was loaded.
So they could have at least bought these people Hot Pockets. Hot Pockets.
I mean, we don't know what they ate for sure, but
Ian's
you
getting
could
all-
assume.
He's like, oh, listen, jackass. We don't know what they had.
It's like, what are you guys, fucking idiots?
They had a fantastic meal of chicken nuggets. They had a whole display of dipping sauces, you fuckos. Curly fries. Like it was made for them. So long story short, we don't know what they had for dinner.
We don't know, but we know that Jouret and Mambro did not have the last meal together. They were separate for it.
Was there hostility between them then?
Yeah, they were kind of like, there was this weird thing where they were pushing back and forth against each other on who was really in charge towards the end here.
Infighting.
And most of the Solar Temple members viewed transitioning their bodies to Sirius as more of a metaphor. So when 48 people died on October 4th, 1994, instead of 15, this became more of a ritualistic mass murder than a suicide.
Jeez.
There's
We'll see you guys next week.
That
Cult done. See ya.
there's evidence that based on numerology and the importance of numbers of the Solar Temple, that they were going to have to murder former members as well to achieve a certain number of bodies to transition to Sirius.
That's not fair.
They're like, shit, guys, we're not going to make our suicide quota. Better go fucking kill some people. Whose name do we have on the ledger from the last meeting
yeah,
signing?
right. Like, we smartened up and left. You can't kill us now. That's not how it works.
It does seem
We're
pretty
laughing.
unfair.
It's not funny. It's not
It's not
funny.
fair.
If you wisened up and got out, you deserve to live at that
Yes,
point.
exactly.
Ian, would you've said earlier you might have joined a cult. You think you would have wisened up at some point? Or would you have been just kind of roped right in and you'd have been fucking one of the leaders? Not
I don't
fucking.
know,
You
man.
wouldn't have been fucking one of the leaders, but you
He
would
probably
have.
would have.
Well,
let's be honest.
Well, if it was Jodi Arias, she's marriage material. She fucking just keyed his car once. He'd be putting a ring on that.
Where can people find that Jodi Arias episode, Mike?
That's available at patreon.com/necronomipod, available in our archives.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Thanks.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I would hope I would be able to wisen up, but I just know that I sympathize with a lot of people that join cults because I know that there was a very specific moment in my life where I felt I was very vulnerable and I was looking into a lot of different things. And if a charismatic person would have swept me up at that point in time, then yeah, I would have been roped right in. So
Yeah, I get that.
I
get
hopefully I would have wisened up, but
that. Right.
I don't know.
Well, that or you'd be on the Hail Bob Comet right now.
And instead, I'm drinking a beer with you guys. So
So either way, you're in a cult. So lose for you, Pally. Any hoodles.
former member Terry Yushino had left the Solar Temple in 1993 after realizing that divorcing his wife that he had been married to for like 15 years and being set up in this, quote, cosmic marriage with a random person wasn't a great idea. Like, we remember last week we talked about Lemmy from Motorhead and Mother Teresa. That's like a good cosmic marriage.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what happened to Terry Yushino. He was like, DeMambro was like, hey, you know what? You're the reincarnation of Lemmy from Motorhead, and your wife, she's not good for you, so you got to go marry this other woman. And
It's crazy.
so Terry wisened up and was like, yeah, this isn't great. And he didn't just leave the solar temple peacefully. He had spent the last year and a half trying to get back some of the money that he had given to the solar temple for over the 15 years that he was there.
Yeah, especially when your cosmic wife looks like she got hit in the face with an asteroid, right?
God damn.
Like I'm not loving this cosmic marriage, Mr. DeMambro.
Wow. Can I get my money back? I want out.
Yeah. This sucks. I pay for this ugly wife. I don't like this anymore.
Give me my money. Fuck you and your cult.
I don't want to go to Sirius and live with my ugly wife. I want my old wife back.
So at 11 a.m. on October 4th, 1994, Yushino got a phone call from Solar Temple member Florence Rodero, who was one of many of the women that was sleeping with DeMambro. Florence told Yushino that her and DeMambro were at one of the group's locations, and if he made the drive out, DeMambro had money to give him. He was going to give him his money back. Spoiler alert, if you've given thousands and thousands of dollars to a cult and they tell you to drive out to a remote location, they're going to give it back to you. That is not going to happen.
You don't think so?
So you should just cut that loss. It's just not, you're not getting your money back.
Oh, yeah. We got a cashier's check waiting for you on the counter.
This location was the closest thing to an actual compound that the Solar Temple had. It was 3 small cottages that had walkways connecting to them. The cottages were only used for Solar Temple things, and it was each one was owned individually. One was owned by DeMambro, Luc Jouret, and the Swiss watchmaker.
Was this out in the country?
Yeah, it was kind of like farmland area.
Okay.
When Yushino showed up at the location around 3 p.m. that day, he found DeMambro and Florence sitting outside because DeMambro said he had locked his keys in his house. When the locksmith got there, DeMambro instructed him to unlock Jouret's house instead of his own. And when Yushino was kind of like, hey, why? DeMambro said, well, there's a spare set of keys in Jouret's place, and I don't want to break my own lock. While the locksmith was working, Jouret showed up, but he didn't have his keys either. So this is just fishy as fuck
guys.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, so these guys are like the cosmic beings, right? They're the end all be all of cosmic knowing. Neither of them. One locked his keys.
Laurel and Hardy with their fucking keys. Like
one locked his keys in the house. The other one doesn't have his keys, and they're both acting fishy as fuck. And you're supposedly going to get a big envelope of cash.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like fucking someone being a part of the Necronomicon cult, and then they show up to like one of our parties drunk, and they see Dave stumbling out of a house eating a cookie, and the other layer Ian threatening to fight him over that cookie. And then people are like, I'm going to follow these fucking guys? Like, what is this? What is this all about? These guys are stumbling around fighting over a fucking cookie.
These guys are fucking assholes.
Yeah, fuck this. I'm going to kill myself over this? These guys couldn't get the serious if they hit him in the head.
That's great. Hey, Ian, Mike's nickname in college rhymed with locksmith. Do you know what it was?
Ooh, no, I don't. What was it?
Yeah, enlighten us.
Oh, I don't know. I was asking you if you knew.
Was it Cocksmith?
I think it was. That's right.
You thought you actually... It was just, it was one of those like, don't let it be unsaid. But Ian thought you were like challenging him to answer it. This is what happens when we're not in the same room, folks.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Ian's like, wait, do you mean Cocksmith? That is correct, actually. So Dave, give him a fucking cookie so he doesn't beat your ass because he might fight you.
Nice work.
So Yushino, retelling this story, he said that Jouret looked like he hadn't showered in days. It's like had this beard going on and just looked completely just out of sorts. And Jouret didn't even acknowledge that Yushino was there. And that's got to be weird off the bat too, because it's like, okay, I'm waiting for this money. The keys are locked into place. Then Jouret shows up looking like shit. You've known this guy for 15 years and he doesn't even talk to you at all, but you're supposedly there for money.
Right.
He said the only thing that Jouret was concerned with was how DeMambro was going to pay the locksmith. which also doesn't make any sense at all.
That's
Very
why I was
strange.
getting confused when reading these notes that they were like tight on money, or at least cash on hand, because they didn't know what they were supposed to be doing here.
You take a debit card, pal?
I mean, nowadays they would probably. You think locksmiths walk around with one of those little gimmicks, like the little keypad things that you can swipe your card?
I assume.
Or like one of those
everyone
Apple
does.
phones?
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry, we keep sidetracking. Keep going, Ian.
Yushino said that when the lock was finally opened on Jouret's place, he was hit with an overwhelming smell of gasoline, and he couldn't specifically remember if he screamed when he smelled it or if it was the locksmith who screamed. But either way, somebody screamed, was like, what the fuck is happening right now? And Florence assured them that the smell was coming from a broken oil tank that was downstairs. DeMambro went inside, grabbed a set of keys, and looked at Yushino, saying, quote, "Never mind, these aren't the keys to my cottage." And that's the point when Yushino got in his car and took off. And he said that the last thing he saw was Florence running after his car, waving her hands to get him to come back. Like, that has to be so...
Like, you dodged a bullet
like-
here, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, like, not even... I don't know if it's like that flight or flight situation, because like the way I picture this being told too, it's like, no, come on, let's come inside, you're fine, just come in. And it smells
I heard
like
that all the
gas, and
time
like,
in college. Come on, come in.
did
come,
you?
come inside. Come on, come inside. And you know what? Well, I'd stick around. Homie'd stick around. I'd come inside. It's a sexual innuendo for coming inside of a woman.
Oh, I didn't know where you were
Oh,
going. I didn't know what you were
okay.
going.
I just wanted to
with.
make sure you
Oh,
guys understood.
This guy.
All right, back to for real, because this guy saved his life, and I'm making fucking perverted jokes.
well, and it's just super. I mean, everything smells like gas, and they're like, come in, and then it's like he almost like looks defeated, and he's like admits like, oh, the keys aren't mine. Like, what the fuck is even happening right now?
Yeah, fight
So-
or flight kicks in. You're like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
He put it all together. Like, these guys are fucking down on their luck. They look like shit. They're not acknowledging him. Like, things just don't look as he's known them for all these years. It's just a weird situation. I give him credit. He got the fuck out of there and saved his life.
We'll be right back. Hi, friends. Your pal Dave here to talk to you about an exciting new opportunity to add to your healthcare portfolio. Dave's unlicensed home gynecology practice. Are you tired of stuffy, crowded waiting rooms and quote-unquote real doctors who have an MD and actual medical equipment? If so, why not check out Dave's unlicensed gyno shop? They offer both in-house and virtual exams, sure to fit your busy schedule. Their patented premium penetration process will leave you completely satisfied with your visit. And of course, they will never sell video of your exam to Pornhub. Although if you have a real cute cooter, they might upload it for free. Also, there's no need to speculate about whether or not it's an actual speculum they're using for your exam. Spoiler alert, it's not. So, if you're ready to put some pizzazz in your next pap smear, head on over to Dave so they can get a look at that thing. And remember, unlike most gynecology offices, at Dave's they administer a heavy anesthetic prior to your exam. You won't remember 1 second of your invasive inspection. Guaranteed. You're welcome. So what are you waiting for? Vaginal vacancies are available now. Give them a call today at 1-800-TUNE-UP-YOUR-TWAT. That's 1-800-TUNE-UP-YOUR-TWAT. 1-800-TUNE-UP-YOUR-TWAT. Get that twat the tune-up it deserves today.
The night that Yushino got away from them, 25 people would die in those 3 cottages. And in another location, just outside of the town of Sherry, another 23 people would die. If you add in DeMambro, Jouret, and the Dutois, that's 53 people. Now, 54 was the most sacred number to the Solar Temple, so you could assume that Terry Yushino was supposed to be that 54th person.
Wow, close call.
Yep.
I'm assuming his cosmic butterface bride didn't make it. I'm just asking. I don't know.
The location outside of Sherry was a farm that the Solar Temple used, and it was owned by 73-year-old Albert Giacomino. Giacomino, like so many other Solar Temple members, was on his way out, leaving the cult due to money issues. In the weeks leading up to this, Giacomino had been telling outside friends that he was just kind of done with it. Like, this is bullshit. There's all this money going to DeMambro and Jouret, but I'm not seeing any of this money. And it would seem, based on what happened, that DeMambro had caught word that he was leaving. Firefighters arrived at the farm just after midnight on October 4th, 1994, after being told that the farmhouse and the barn had burst into flames. When they got the fire under control, they were able to go inside, and the first thing that the investigators found was Giacobino dead at his kitchen table. He was shot in the head and had a plastic bag put over his head, effectively marking him as a traitor.
Was that like in their manifesto or something? The traitor plastic bag thing?
Yeah. The way that they numbered people out in their manifestos and whatnot, and then you'd like calculate the amount of people that had plastic bags over their heads and things.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody who had a plastic bag on their head was a traitor to the Solar Temple.
It's not very nice.
Investigators also found tons of defective bombs all around the property, and the intention was to have nothing left. That they were going to wipe out everything. There wasn't supposed to be anything left behind. When they started going through things, they quickly noticed that the building was bigger than what they were seeing on the inside. Like the inside layout was way smaller than what the building looked like from the outside. And they found that one of the walls slid open to reveal a secret room. Everything in this secret room was red. The floor was red, the ceiling was red, and the walls were just like these huge mirrors.
Just thinking about that burns my retinas. Like that
all
hurts.
the red?
Like, yeah, that's just like, that makes my eyes water just thinking about that. Too much red. Hashtag too much red.
There was no furniture in the room except for a painting of Luc Jouret made to look like Jesus. Like it's basically like Jesus, like what we think of as Jesus, but you got Luc Jouret's face on.
I would love a painting.
Dave,
of
you have a
myself.
painting like that, right?
I would love that. That would be the best thing ever.
Well, I think if people visit Dave_Namapod, your Instagram page, there's a photo of you looking like the Pope, right?
That's true.
Quite dashing.
We have a lot of artists in the audience. I will be happy to come to your location and sit for you if you will paint me as Jesus.
Oh, now I'm thinking about Titanic. I want you to paint me wearing this. Wearing only this. And Dave's just going to wear like a crucifix on his chest. And that's it.
My loincloth that I was crucified in.
Nope. Straight ball sack. Hanging out. Hanging out, man. Maybe a little fig leaf. A little fig leaf. That's it.
Oh, that's great. I would hang it proudly in my study.
My study. My study.
I would
Listen to
smoke
this
my
guy.
pipe and look
Listen
at
to
it,
this
gaze
guy.
upon it every day.
As a fire's crackling in the background, he's drinking a brandy and smoking a cigar.
That's a fine Jesus painting you've got there, I must say. You make a great son of man, Dave.
Talking to his own painting.
I see why God picked you to be crucified. You're delightful.
I love Savior Dave. That's my new favorite character. Wearing just a smoker's robe. Some little fancy slippers.
That's fantastic.
That's the life, though. We all dream of that life.
Come on, God. I'm comfortable here. I don't want to go down to earth and die. Fuck these humans.
Oh. I want a room like that in my house, too. God damn.
Fuck these humans.
I just want to smoke my pipe and stare at my painting and drink expensive scotch, God.
So inside this secret room, they found 18 Solar Temple members dead and arranged in a circle like spokes on a bike. They were all wearing robes and their ceremonial capes designated to what subgroup they belonged to. 'Cause remember, I said they had black, white, and red capes. So
Yeah, they were like
all had
karate belts, yeah.
Yeah, so they all had their capes on. However, 10 of these members had plastic bags on their heads, marking them as traitors.
Involuntary participation trophies.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly.
They have any cheap Nikes on their feet?
A few of these victims had their hands bound, but almost all of them were shot in the head, some up to 8 times.
Ugh.
So a total of 65 bullets had been fired into 23 people. So on top of it being extremely ritualistic, it was overkill. It was very intense. Investigators are looking around this room, and they're kind of like, well, we found one secret room, maybe there's another secret room in here somewhere. And they found that one of these big mirrors slid to reveal another secret room. And this was the Solar Temple's ritual room. The walls in this room were also covered in mirrors. Floor was red, ceiling's red. It had a big like pentagram on the floor carved out. And in the middle was an altar, and the altar had a rose, a cross, and a chalice on it. And in that room were the last 3 bodies at this crime scene.
I think I'd want to go in that room. There's sex stuff going on in there?
Ew.
That seems like the fun room. Doesn't
Crazy
it?
ass room. Fuck that. Ew. I don't want sex. I don't want to do sex with them.
All right. Your choice.
I mean, I'm sure there was something happening in there.
Probably butt stuff, huh?
There probably was everything but sex going on in there. See, it makes Dave laugh every time. That joke every time makes him laugh. Oh boy, that was a Ben again. We're doing a lot of Jodi Arias jokes tonight, and I feel like people might not necessarily get that. Anyways, patreon.com/Necronomipod. We did a Jodi Arias show. It was a lot of fun, actually. It was one of the most fun shows we had. As much fun as you can have for a brutal murder.
Sure.
Anyways, Ian, get us back on track. Take us out of the sex room.
And investigators found an audio tape that was taped to the front door of the farmhouse, and they thought maybe this could explain like what the fuck's even happening in this place. Like what just happened here? But all that was on the tape was someone talking about astrology. It was
thanks.
Rambling.
Thanks a lot for that. Thanks a lot for the clues.
Back at the other scene where Yushino was trying to get his money back, all of the bombs had went off. Between those 3 cottages, investigators found 25 more bodies. Of those 25 bodies included 4 of Mambro's, quote, cosmic children.
Oh, my God.
There were minors involved in this one.
Like they were mining for what? Like iron ore or?
Oh, boy. I think that's what he meant, Pally.
Oh. Sorry, I missed
Juveniles.
that. Oh, I got it now.
You know, like back that ass up, juvenile. We should not record shows like this when we're just so drunk. This is not okay.
The bodies were scattered among these 3 cottages, with Mambro dead in the one he owned and Jouret dead in the one that he owned.
Any symbolism to that? Like not together, separate? Were they at odds when they died?
I don't know. I mean, there's not.
Do you think was everything?
This is a weird story too, because it's really you're piecing a lot together because there isn't like this definitive thing on the Solar Temple like there are all these other cults out there. So
like they kind of made it up as they went, but they got themselves too in deep before they can like kind of finish their story, right? And then they called it quits, and the 2 leaders just killed themselves, and then that was it. So you piece together what you could from what we know.
Like there's all these debates out there about if they were this money laundering thing, if they were this firearms purchasing operation, like what exactly they are. But you would have to assume at some point throughout this that they started believing what they were saying, because to go as far to do this and try and at least get it to number 54, they would have to believe
they were buying into
degree.
something. Sure, they were buying into something.
Like a lot of cults, Heaven's Gate did it this way. They arranged for a surviving member to stay behind, and the next day, someone anonymously mailed packages to various Swiss news outlets and a Swiss historian. Inside each package were 4 documents from the Solar Temple, which they called their testaments. The first testament was called, quote, "To all those who can still understand the voice of wisdom, we address this message." In this, the Solar Temple laid out their beliefs and details regarding the transit to Sirius. In this document, they also blamed all of the negative coverage they received on the media. In this document, they also blamed everything that happened with this mass suicide, and they blamed it all on negative coverage they had received from the media, specifically the Quebec government for the gun investigation. Like, that was the fault of what happened here.
So fake news made them do it.
Right.
So do you think they're all standing up on Sirius, kind of just waving and smiling at us? Like Like Obi-Wan and Anakin and Yoda at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Enjoy that COVID, motherfuckers. We're happy as shit up here. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe we're the idiots.
Maybe.
We're the numbskulls.
Just in a little haze, smiling,
Yeah.
waving. Hi, we're good.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say? Who's to say that
Meanwhile,
Heaven's Gate's not rolling on the Hale-Bopp comment? I don't know.
The most surprising thing about that was that Mike knew what I was talking about with Return of the Jedi.
What? Did I say I
That
did?
is shocking.
Did I say I did? I just played it off
He
as
was
a joke.
faking it.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck is this?
I wasn't even trying to. I was just playing it off as they escaped the COVID and we didn't. I have seen Return of the Jedi. I think I've
All
seen
right.
the original 3 Star Wars, and then I saw the first one that was after that.
Okay.
That was like the prequel, though,
Sure.
right?
Phantom Menace?
Like the one with like the Jar Jar Binks character. Was he in that one?
Not the first one, right?
I don't know. You tell me, Pally. I don't know. I saw what maybe it was Phantom Menace though. I saw the original 3, and they're good. They're good. I'm not a sci-fi guy, but they're good. And then I think I saw whatever was the first one after that in theaters because it came out like when in my childhood.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I don't dislike Star Wars.
All right.
I won't. I can't keep up with. There's like a new movie now, like out every
Yeah,
year.
I don't watch them anymore.
It's like with the Marvel ones. Like
Yeah.
who can fucking keep up? I heard they're making a new Indiana Jones though.
Really?
I haven't seen the last one with Shia LaBeouf,
I didn't watch that.
but I love the original 3. I don't want to ruin it and watch. Ian, have you seen the one with Shia LaBeouf?
I have never seen any Indiana Jones movies.
This motherfucker over here. He's trying to tell us about these stories.
He likes the Illinois Smith movies better.
Wow. Indiana, yeah, I mean, who am I to make fun of someone who has not seen movies? Indiana Jones is fantastic. I love that series.
I mean, I have them on my Plex account. I
You should
just
probably watch one of them, at least one of them,
one of these days.
Yeah, someday.
one of these days.
Sure.
It's like me when I tell people I want to watch a movie. I have no intention of watching that movie.
He's deleting them from Plex right now as we're talking
Spite.
about it.
It's a spite delete.
The Second Testament was titled The Rose Plus Crew. This basically said that the Solar Temple's version of Rosicrucianism was going to be the religion of the future. So,
Has that come to fruition anywhere? Like in Switzerland or?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The Third Testament, titled Transit to the Future, is the longest of the 4, and it just kind of lays out how mankind is doomed if we don't follow in the Solar Temple's belief system and their footsteps. Kind of basically like, you know what, you're all fucked if you don't join us on Sirius kind of thing. Which I don't think that I'm fucked because I didn't join them on Sirius. I'm having a pretty good time where I'm at right now. Testament 4, titled To Lovers of Justice, was for remaining members of the Solar Temple and people in the world who engage in esoteric beliefs. It basically says that governments around the world are controlling mankind and keeping us from being able to open our third eye. The only way to overcome this governmental control would be to transit to Sirius, aka kill yourself.
AKA.
Die.
What about the Fifth Testament?
What was the Fifth
Oh,
Testament?
it talked about people being prevented from opening their brown eye. It was titled "To Lovers of Ass Play."
What's hilarious is that I was going to make a brown eye joke, but I was like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to make that. I've derailed us enough. And then as soon as Dave said Fifth Testament, I was like, I know exactly where he's going with this.
How do you not make a brown eye joke, right?
I would follow the Fifth Testament. You must respect the brown eye.
Throughout the Testaments, they refer to the 53 total people who died as the awakened, the immortals, and the traitors. There were 15 considered the awakened, and they died by poisoning. I think from all the things that I read, it seemed like it was kind of agreed upon that it was like sleeping pills, kind of like an overdose on sleeping pills.
Probably the best way to go, right? Considering.
Yeah, out of what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah. 30 of these were labeled as immortals. They were either shot or suffocated. By the Testament's own admission, a lot of the immortals didn't go willingly and needed to be, quote, helped along. And like we talked about earlier, the bodies with plastic bags over their heads were traitors. And in the testaments, the Solar Temple just straight up admits to murdering those people. Like the immortals, they say, oh, we just kind of pushed them over the edge. We helped those people out. The immortals were murdered too. Like there's no question about that. But in the testaments, they act like, oh, we just needed to help those people. But they straight up say like, yeah, we fucking killed the traitors.
Damn.
The weird thing about this whole situation is that, like, the investigation we just talked about, like, kind of talking to a couple of members and just kind of going through these secret rooms, that was really it. There was never a deep dive from authorities into what was really going on with the Solar Temple or why any of this happened. Teaser for next month, we're going to do Waco. Waco kind of overshadowed this a little bit. And I've seen arguments out there where people are like, maybe the Swiss authorities were like, oh, look at that shit happening in America with this like suicide cult, like all this shit going wrong. Let's just sweep this under the rug real quick because we don't want to acknowledge this. There's a lot of debate on why they didn't investigate this. But
Maybe they just wanted to be done with it, you know? Like they were probably just tired of these people. Like they're all gone now. Like let's just put it to bed, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. But there was a lot more to this than just... I mean, just based off the little information that's out there, because there's not a ton, but just based off the little bit that is out there, there was something way more happening here than just a suicide cult.
Yeah.
So they just kind of brushed it under the rug, and I think because they did that, and they didn't go like crack down on this and figure out what the hell happened here, who are all these members, the same thing happened a year and a half later. And in France on December 23rd, 1995, 16 more Solar Temple members died, and it's likely that many of those were murdered as well. It's believed that many of them thought that they were meeting in the woods for a winter solstice ritual, and when autopsies were done, it was found that most of the 16 were drugged. One member had a fractured jaw, and all of them had been shot in the head.
God damn. So I know here in a little bit, we're going to get into someone being arrested. But at this point, authorities don't know who's running all of this or leading all of this when like these 16 people end up dead in 95? Or is that just tying to what it's at the end?
No, I mean, the thing is, it's kind of like the leader. The way that I read it is like the leaders were dead. We don't care about where all the money came from. We don't. You know,
so they were operating knowing their leaders were dead. They were operating with their leaders were dead.
Right, and we just want this to go away. Yeah. It's kind of how I read it.
Is that more motivation then, if you're still a living member, to commit suicide or kill yourself, knowing your leaders have already done it, now you must join them? Like, is that more motivation to do it?
I mean, it happened in Heaven's Gate. There's 2 people I know of that killed themselves, 2 members that killed themselves after the fact, that felt that they missed the boat.
Yeah, like if you're like, if this sucks, these guys are up partying on Sirius, we got to get up there, right?
Yeah,
sure.
It happened with 2 Heaven's Gate people. It happened with multiple Jonestown People's Temple members afterwards. Specifically, Mike Prokes did it, and pretty dramatically. But you know, with this situation, I don't know fully, but I feel like there's like a mix of survivor's guilt, and then you're so indoctrined on the idea of this mindset that just keep it going at this point. I guess.
Makes sense, sure.
It's believed that 2 members shot the other 14 members. They then arranged the bodies in a circle like spokes on a bike and set them on fire with gasoline. As the bodies burned, the 2 men stood in the empty spots in the circles, put the guns in their mouths, pulled the trigger, effectively killing themselves, and then they fell backwards, completing the circle.
God damn. Sounds like a great mayhem video.
Well, and the crazy thing about that is the 2 guys that did that, the 2 guys that murdered all 14 of those people and then killed themselves, one was a police officer and the other one was another high up financial person. Like these were not like what you would, I guess, quote unquote, like crazy people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like these were like high upstanding people that got sucked into this thing.
This would make a great movie, I think.
Yeah, that whole murder suicide thing is straight out of a movie.
Have they ever made a movie about this?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't
they
Maybe
recall
Cool
seeing
Down.
pulled
Maybe
from
Cool
it.
Down Media buys the rights.
I mean, be an interesting movie.
Then we could sell those rights to Scorsese.
Sure.
We're listening, Marty. What do you got? You and Miller Lite who want to buy Cool Down beers from us.
Well, even with this, there wasn't much of an investigation into the Solar Temple. And so on March 22nd, 1997, the deaths continued. And 5 more Solar Temple members committed suicide in Quebec. 3 teenagers woke up to find that their parents had filled their house with propane tanks and tons of fire hazards. Like the stove was left on. There was like hot plates left out and shit. Like super fucking dangerous. When their parents explained to them that it was time to transition to Sirius, these kids somehow convinced their parents to let them go. How I read it was described, it was like an all-day affair, like a whole afternoon of like, hey, you know what? You should just kind of let us go. You guys do your own thing. Please let us leave.
Mom, we don't want to live on Sirius. We want to stay here.
Right.
Oh, my God.
The kids got out, but the fire worked, and investigators found 5 Solar Temple members upstairs dead, with their bodies arranged in the shape of a cross, with the mother of one of these members dead on the couch downstairs with a plastic bag on her head marked
Traitor.
as a traitor. Thanks.
Goddamn, Mike.
Got it.
The Solar Temple was also based in Spain, and especially in the Canary Islands. In 1984, Luc Jouret lectured on the island of Tenerife. So in 1998, this splinter sect that he kind of left behind was planning a ritualistic suicide in the Teide National Park. And from what I read, this was specifically, there's a volcano there, and there was going to be like this ritualistic suicide of just like jumping in the volcano kind of thing. Both because there was a lot of German people involved in this splinter sect, so both Spanish and German police were able to catch wind of this plan and stop them before it happened. And this would have trumped the original Solar Temple's victim count, because this was over 100 people.
Wow.
At this point,
It lives on. Fun fact about Tenerife: there's an air crash in the 70s, the most fatalities in aviation history.
really.
Yeah,
How many?
like 500 something.
Damn.
It was foggy, and a plane thought they were clear for takeoff and tried to take off, but there was another. They were 747s. Another one in the runway. Boom. All the people on the plane taking off died. I think most on the plane that were sitting on the runway died. Like only 60 people lived. Yeah, 550, 560.
That is
Huge number.
like, I know we talk about a lot of terrible stuff on the show. Hearing like stuff like that is so terrifying
Awful.
to me that
I think there's video of it.
I'm
too.
going to
It's awful.
have a nightmare about that tonight,
Yeah,
about being on a plane
that's bad.
because of this. That is terrifying.
Yep.
Plane crashes, plane incidents. That is awful.
Yeah,
that is
I
so
don't
terrifying.
enjoy plane crashes.
No. Well, who does? But no one enjoys cult suicides either. No. I'm just saying. This is goddamn
Deadliest
Thanks, Dave.
aviation.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
Well, he knows because he vacations there at his vacation home.
I've never been to Tenerife.
He knows all their whole history, but no, he doesn't own a vacation home there yet. At this point, I wouldn't fly in the Tenerife. Doesn't sound like they have a good track record.
40-something years ago.
Still, you take that first flight. I'll follow you, Pally. Oh, that gets my anxiety up just thinking about this.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
Like by this time in the story, the public was getting a little fed up with this whole murder-suicide shit going on in Europe. Like, everyone's like, what the fuck's been happening for the past, like, 4 or 5 years here with all this? Like, this is, like,
Yeah, these wackos are out of control.
Yeah, so they wanted somebody to blame. And, like we said, Luc Jouret is dead. Joseph Mambro is dead. So authorities pointed in a guy named Mikhail Tabachnik. He was an internationally renowned Swiss musician and conductor, and he was arrested as a leader of the Solar Temple. He was indicted for, quote, participation in a criminal organization and murder. He came in trial. He came
during his trial? Like a Peter Curtin every time he relived.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. Peter Curtin available in the archives.
Remember that guy, Peter Curtin?
Oh, yeah.
He saw some blood and he'd fucking blow a load in his pants.
He's the one that killed like that duck by like the pond, right?
Yeah,
and when the blood started shooting out, he blew a load.
He was blowing his load in court every day when they were talking about his crimes.
That's sad.
Wait, was that him blowing his load or was that him killing a duck? I can't tell.
If you remember, we had to re-record that episode because I was playing the orgasm sound clip after all of his murders, and it did not go over.
It didn't translate well when there was children involved.
It's not great.
Well,
live and learn. Am I right?
Hey,
live and learn.
Kayfabe, Dave. Shut up. Kayfabe. They don't even know that.
It's one thing we do good at this podcast. We re-listen to ourselves and then we.
Oh yeah.
So believe it or not, folks, you're listening to the cleaned up version of our shows. Just imagine what you don't hear.
That's right.
Again, is that him jerking off or is that him killing a duck? I don't know. I don't know which one that is.
So this tavern guy came to trial in France during the spring of 2001, and he was acquitted because, I mean, it's like if I was him, I'd be like, "Hey,
I didn't fucking kill anyone.
Like the fucking leaders are dead. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, don't blame me." The French prosecutors appealed against the verdict, and an appellate court was ordered. And a second trial began on October 24th, 2006, and he was again cleared in less than 2 months, and he was just out and ready to go on December, in December of 2006, and I kind of agree with that. Like looking into it, it's like, hey, fuck off. This guy, I mean, just because he was a part of it doesn't mean that he's responsible for all this craziness that was happening.
I mean, unless he really
in my
was.
opinion.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, unless he really was.
So
the way I read it was that they just really wanted to look for somebody to blame for all of this. And
that happens all the time, sure.
That's not fair to this guy.
And this guy's still alive? Is he doing interviews about any of this, or is he pretty hush?
Not that I've seen. There's one documentary out there on YouTube about this, and it's not great. There's no book written on it as far as I could find it, besides one, and it's still just in French. It hasn't been translated to English. There's really no information about this group other than like bits and pieces from here and there, and it really I don't know, it's disappointing because it's super interesting. I mean, this group is fascinating, all of it, but
especially that Jesus painting.
Dave's
I agree.
Dave really wants that Jesus painting of himself.
It's fucking badass.
So he can sit in his
it
lounge.
Just seems like a lot of it. I mean, they fully wanted everything to be gone. They didn't want anybody to find any information out about other than the testaments that they put out. That's very clear.
Yeah, that's a wild story for sure.
It's super interesting because it goes from, hey, we're not a cult, or we only check off like 2, maybe 3 of these points, to wait, everybody's dying now.
Yeah, right. We're checking more boxes now. Yeah,
right. Everybody's dying out here, so it's super interesting. But yeah, that's the Solar Temple.
Well,
okay,
more wackos. I don't know what to say, man.
Yeah, another cult in the books. Innocent people dying and weirdos dying and taking them all with them.
I'm not joining a cult.
No,
not my thing.
Ian, you got anything else to add about the Order of the Solar Temple? Anything else we should touch on or just make fun of or get into?
I don't know. If there's somebody over in France that listens to us and it gets a hold of that book, like,
do we have any French listeners? I know we have Australian. We have
yeah. Like, read that book and then, like, give me, like, the cliff notes on it in English. I would love it. That'd be amazing.
So Ian's asking you to be his intern, his unpaid intern, if you're interested. He's looking for an unpaid intern. Shout-outs. We got some new patrons. Thank you very much to Luke, Ged, Charlene, Mel B, Josephine Glick, Haley Gaunt, Isaiah Gray, Nightmare 64, Jamie Birdridge, Kate Dunphy, Taylor Wills, Braxton R., Mercedes Lander, Jesse Hansen, Christine Els, Latasha FC, Henry Selzer, Brittany Mills, Zach Zielinski, and Matthew Sullivan. Thank you guys very much for joining Patreon. Stay tuned. We're about to have an announcement about some new things coming to Patreon. If you're interested, patreon.com/necronomipod. Ian, what do you got for us?
For iTunes, I have one for Swen Chris, Sniper Dog 79, Angus 7899, and Spalding 67. Then I also have a shout out for Danny Mazek. She just launched her podcast, Hear No Evil. So everybody should go check that out. I helped her out with some stuff and have been helping her out with her artwork. So she has one episode up. I think she's going to release another one tomorrow. And she's available on Apple, Spotify, Google, Castbox, all the good stuff. So go check out Danny's podcast at Hear No Evil. And then I also have one other shout out from Instagram for Art of Grace Meadows. She drew a pretty sweet picture of me with an alien, which was super awesome. I really liked it.
Yeah, she's doing some sweet photos of us.
I'm getting that tattooed on me, Ian.
Ian's face tattooed on you?
Ian and the alien.
I think and then Ian will get me tattooed on him, and I'll get you, Dave, tattooed on me.
Well, that sounds great.
Awesome. Can't wait to get my ass cheek with Dave's face on it.
I will say, though, I mean, I was pretty impressed with my picture, but I was going through her artwork, and she has some really, really good stuff. I was checking out. She has a fucking awesome picture of Captain Marvel in there in her Instagram. So yeah, Art of Grace Meadows. She has some awesome artwork on there.
Dave, what do you got for us?
I got some tough names, guys, tonight, so stick with me on the pronunciation.
I know it, Pally. Good luck.
From Twitter, Sarah Emerson and eHally16. From Instagram, Carly Girl, Baba Vesterka Tattoos. Was pretty good, huh?
Well done.
Ludz Cossack, Rachel Pugh, Alex Miller, Belcy Bubby, and my favorite vegan chef, Shanna Martinez. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Boom. With regards to Patreon, due to popular demand, we are going to be adding a new level of patronage. We're going to be adding a $10 level of patronage, I guess is the word, starting in May. So if you are interested, the $10 level of Patreon will get you an early release on all of our Sunday episodes. There is no exact time frame, but you will get them at least a day ahead of time. The early releases, they will also be, I think, ad-free. They will be ad-free as well. They will be ad-free early releases of our Patreon. You will also get a Necronomipod sticker, and you will get a exclusive download to a Necronomipod wallpaper for your smartphone, Android or iPhone device. On top of that, you will get a one-time per month Necronomipod video happy hour chat with myself, with Dave, and with Ian. We'll do a video chat with you guys for an hour. We'll drink, we'll answer questions, we'll hang out with you guys. It's kind of a level up from the Discord that we already have, where you go get to see us and we'll get to drink and maybe answer your questions or just talk to you guys and just bullshit for a while. So again, that'll be for a $10 a month subscription to Patreon. Early release on episodes, a $1 or a 1 hour happy hour video chat with us per month. You get some stickers and you'll get some. You get to download some wallpaper backgrounds for your phone. We've had some requests for this. We've held out for a little while because we weren't quite sure, but we think this might be worth it for people who are into it. So we're pretty excited about it. And that'll start in May. So as of May 1st, you can sign up for that on Patreon. You guys excited for that?
I'm very excited for it.
I could tell by your voices.
Looking forward to it.
I like the idea that floated out about maybe doing a power hour every once in a while for those video chats.
Well, Dave and I do power hours all the time before shows. You guys want to do a video power hour with Dave and I?
Fuck yeah.
For those of you that don't know what a power hour is, it is a shot of beer every minute for 60 minutes. So essentially it works out to, if you're doing a regular 1.5 ounce shot glass, it's about 7 to 8 beers in an hour. And Dave and I do them all the time. You listen to music, you throw the shots back, and even Ian recently has been doing a bunch with them. So you do them with all of us. That'd be a fucking hell of a time.
Look at this great content we put out after we drink 8 beers in an hour.
I mean, come
Fucking
on.
great. Am I right?
Who doesn't love this? Who doesn't love this shit? So yeah. So that will be patreon.com/necronomapod. Starting in May, we will have the $10 tier for all of that fun stuff. You can also still stay at the $5 tier. You will still get the 3 bonus shows a month. And the $1 tier, you still get a shout out when you subscribe. And thank you for helping us. So the $1, the $5, and the $10 tier.
Do we want to talk about the $1 million tier?
Go ahead, Dave.
So we'll be putting in a $1 million tier, and any patrons at the $1 million tier, Mike will fly out to your town, and he will have Chipotle lunch with you, and then he will eat your ass after that Chipotle lunch. That's the $1 million level. $1 million level.
And that's after a 6-month subscription. But yes, absolutely, 100%.
He's lying. It's fucking day one. He'll be on a. We'll have his ass on a flight, eating your ass by sundown.
You sign up for a $1 million subscription, I will pay my own way to your Chipotle. You buy your own burrito, I'll buy my own, and then I will eat your ass.
You're gonna go Dutch on lunch, and then you're gonna eat the ass.
Yes,
right?
All right, 100%. Well, that $1 million ain't coming out of my share. If you're gonna pay for their lunch out of your share of that $1 million, go ahead, Dave.
I'll cover lunch.
Okay, Dave will
Lunch is
cover your
on
lunch.
me.
Dave will cover your lunch. So you show up, meet me at Chipotle, your local Chipotle. Dave will pay for your lunch. I'll put it on a Necronomic card, and then I'll eat your asshole for $1 million. Thank you for patronage. That is per month. I mean, that's $1 million a month.
I think they're gonna cancel after the first month.
Not after they taste this tongue. after they feel this tongue.
They taste this tongue. All right.
Ian's like, done. Shut it down.
Like they have to make out with you after you eat their ass.
No,
Is that
I
what
won't
you're
make them, no, I won't
implying?
make them do that. I won't make them do that.
Okay.
I wouldn't make them do that.
Because then we might get a 2-3 month
For
subscription.
$1.2 million, you can taste my tongue afterwards. All right. Ian, please. All right. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Necronomapod. I don't know why you would want to, but give us a follow after all this. Patreon.com/Necronomapod. We have all kinds of bonus content up. We just released a Jodi Arias episode on Patreon that I think might be our most popular Patreon episode of all time.
It was like 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
It was thorough. It
was good.
We had good debates, and I think it might be our most popular episode of all time.
I think I broke some people's brains when I said some irresponsible shit for the first time in this show.
Yeah. If you want to hear Mike being the voice of reason for the first time ever, patreon.com/Necronomapod, Jodi Arias. Next week, we're probably going to have a pretty fucking depressing topic for you, and then just wait till May. We got a whole month going on of good stuff. And we'll talk to you guys then.
You guys ready for a cool down beer?
Cheers.